guys, it's Amy at Zoe Beck, and I'm going to do my quarter one stats kind of reflection on how I'm doing. I had this whole idea of like going through everything. That video would be super long. So I've decided to kind of condense as much. So I'm going to do kind of what some of my stats videos have been in the past. I'm going to talk about my numbers with my book buying, and then my series about series update. I think that's a big one for me because again, I read a lot of series. And then I'll just give kind of number updates of the other lists that I'm hoping to get to. If I brought all those books back in here, and a lot of them are in my unhaul pile, I would be here forever. But I will show you my favorite books so far of the year as well at the end. So we'll just get into it. So for quarter one, for the first 3 months of 2023, I read 58 books. 36 of them, sorry, I'm here, Cooper, he doesn't like it when I'm here. 36 of them were physical, so 62% of my reading was physical reading. 3 of them were ebooks, so 5%. 19 of them were, 19 audiobooks, or 33% of my reading. So it's a lot higher than normal. Again, my job has changed since last year into this year has changed. So there is an opportunity for me to listen to more audiobooks at work while I'm working. So that number has definitely gone up, even though March I didn't listen to anything at all, I don't think, or maybe one, and I didn't finish much else. So anyway, it's kind of weird. Anyway, but it was 33% for the first 3 months. So, but of those, 10 of the books that I read of the 58 were rereads. So it was about 17% of my reading, which is kind of low really for me. I think again, beginning part of the year, I'm always trying to read new things and new, get on the list that I've made. And my rereads don't usually count because again, I reread all the time. So the fact I only reread 10 books, in the first 3 months is actually kind of low for me. So, anyway, so I didn't read very much. I had 2 graphic novels, so not very many mangas. I didn't have any mangas this last quarter, so I'm going to try a couple more series coming because I kind of missed that cat, Cooper. I had 10 DNFs, so that's maybe a little high. Maybe not. Some years or more. I think this year is a high DNF year because I made so many lists of books that I was unsure about, and I am going through the cat. Oh my God, Cooper, you'll be fine. You're fine. It's after work, so he doesn't think I should be doing this anyway. So I figure I DNF'd more because they were on lists of stuff that I wanted to try or get rid of, and I got rid of a lot of stuff. So that way, so I DNF'd that anyway. So and that'll reflect when I talk about my book buying, how that's going. And then, so of all the reads that were not rereads, but all the new to me books, 39 of them were physically on my shelf, while 5 of them, maybe that's like every book, even the rereads. I don't know. Maybe I messed this number up. But 67% of the books physically came off my shelf, even though I got a lot of audiobooks. I owned physical and got the audio from the library. I did 5 of those like that. I had audiobooks, just straight up library book, 5. And I also had 1 library ebook that I did. So not all the numbers match up. So anyway, but let's just say I've definitely done some of that where I own a physical book and then I look for on my Libby app to see if I can get it from the library. And that definitely, this last couple months, I've definitely done that. At least in the first 2 months I did. Again, March, since my ear issues, I haven't listened to a lot of audiobooks. So hopefully that'll change next week. Anyway, and then I did want to mention that there were 5 that I had started within those 3 months that I kind of put aside that I haven't completed yet. They're not DNFs, they're just on hold. So like one of the big ones is Les Miserables by Victor Hugo, because of my ear issue and work and stuff. And I got sick and I got off of my mammoth. It didn't go so well. So that's like one of them. And then I have a couple other ones that I want to get back to, but So I had 5 of them that kind of carried over from the first quarter that go into the second quarter. So we'll see if we can clear up at least some of those. We'll find out. Okay, so let's talk about my book buying just a little bit here. So really, I've spent a lot less than I normally do, but I still have pretty high numbers. So for the quarter, I bought 46 books. So that comes out to an average for the whole quarter as $11.36 a book. So again, that's kind of a little high, but I do buy mostly trade paperbacks. So that's I would say that was kind of normal. Of those 46, I have read 6 of them. And then there was a couple that I had other copies of that I was replacing them. But 38 of the books that are from the 46 went onto my TBR. So I added 38 books to my TBR that I didn't get to in the first quarter. So I just want to show you my little thing I'm going to try to do for the quarterlies, just to kind of show, maybe, I don't know. I got the idea, again, mostly it's from Heidi at My Reading Life, but again, mine's really simplified because I didn't do like some of the things that she does that she counts. So I just put down is how many books I actually read for each month, just kind of as a visual, because I'm kind of throwing numbers out at you. Not everybody likes that, but here we go. There's a little visual. And then I put down how many books I bought, or no, how many books I read that came off of my physical TBR. So as I said, these are what I actually read that I had on my TBR that I hadn't read before. So that were 36. So I guess that number was right. And then these are my unhauls. So I don't do unhaul videos because I get rid of a lot of books that I just don't want to read. I give up, like I buy a lot of books. So there's a lot of times where I'll buy something and then years later I'll go, no, I'm not going to read that. So I get rid of it. So a lot of these are that. There was like, in here, there was an author that I tried their first book and I had 4 books on there, on my shelf. So I got rid of all 4 books. So that's kind of how that happened. So these are what my unhauled that I had not read. So I either have DNF'd these books or I just decided I'm not going to read them. So I'm able to say they came off of my TBR. And then I have the books that I bought for each month. So January, I bought 11, which was good. And then I went 17 and 18. Not so good, but you know, we're working on it. So, but then when you subtract, I just do these ones and then it comes to my TBR went down 7 books. And then it went down to -11 because I got 4 more that got off my TBR. But March didn't make any movement because I didn't read as much in March. And I didn't read as much off my TBR. So that's kind of, and I bought a lot of books. So, so that kind of shows you just kind of my, at this point. So I don't have it where it shows how many books are on my TBR because my TBR, physical TBR is, and this is all physical. This doesn't count my ebooks. Yes, Kitty. Yes, Cooper. My TBR is over 1,000. I don't know where it is anymore. I haven't counted in 2 years. I'm afraid to count, so I'm just not going to. So we're just going to go by how many I reduced it by month. So we'll see what happens. April probably will break this because I have a library book sale at the end of the month. And I've already bought quite a few books already this month. Very cheaply because I had credit. And I also went to another library book sale that I didn't buy very much at. But the big one I'm going to is at the end of the month and in Corvallis, close to where my parents lived, where I grew up. So I'm going down there to hang out with my dad, and we're gonna go go to the library book sale. Anyway, so Benton County. Anyway, so yeah, so I mean, so that's kind of my little graph. So just that's kind of my book buying in a nutshell. Anyway, so then let's just go through. See. Okay, so number of pages I read for the 3 months. I read 19,651 pages. So January I read the most with 7,895 pages. February was next with 66,569. And March, as I said, because I got sick and I was kind of all over the place, I only read 5,187 pages. So I still read quite a bit. What that comes out to an average for the whole 3 months is 218 pages per day, which is really good. I mean, I always want to be at least 50 pages a day on average for the month. And all of them were above 100. Even March, which was my lowest, was 167 pages per day. So considering that that was all physical, because I didn't listen to much audio after a certain point, I think that's still pretty good. So again, 218 for the whole quarter is really good. I really enjoyed that. So of the 500 or the 58 books, the average page count, average page length was 319 pages. So the highest was, of course, in January, where I read more books. It was 361 pages per book, and then 301 for February, and then 283 for March, which is kind of typical. I read, usually my average comes out to about 300, because I read a lot of long books and I read a lot of novellas, you know, kind of a mixture. So anyway, so that's kind of it. And then my female to male, and then other, like other multiple authors or trans or non-binary was only 5% compared to female was 65%, and male was 30%. So I have, or 30%. So I have, like, I'm definitely read more female writers, but I could work on some of the other genres, you know, or genres, other genders. So we'll work on that. 14 of the 58 books I read was new to me authors. So 24% of my reading was new to me authors. 44%, so that counts all the rereads too. So they're all repeat authors. So that was 76% of my reading was from authors I had read before this year. Some, you know, so that's kind of very typical of me, actually. I only read 4 translated books in the quarter, so that's only 7% of my reading. I want to get higher than that. And I also only read 4 nonfiction, or nonfiction history, or nonfiction, or nature nonfiction are the 2 higher ones for me. And I only read 4 books because I read them mostly in January, and then 1 in February, and then I didn't read any after that. So again, only 7% of my reading was nonfiction. So I would like to up that as well. So of my star ratings, I gave 6 books 5 stars, so about 12.5%. I gave 27 4 stars, which is not a surprise. So about 57% of my reading was about that, because that's a score I give a lot. As long as I've really enjoyed something, or there's a potential to reread it, or I got something really out of it, it's definitely a 4. So I give out 4s a lot. I gave out 12 3 stars, so about 25%. So again, 3 stars that it was okay, but I'm probably never going to reread it or care about it after this. Or there was like problems with it. Like I had issues, some, you know, not maybe major issues, but just enough to take away from my enjoyment. And then I did have 2 2 stars, which is always sad, but that was only 4%. So I guess we can live with that. I didn't give out any 1 stars. Again, of all the books I finished, the 2 that got 2 stars was my lowest rated books. So then, just really quick, fantasy is definitely my highest genre that I read in the 3 months. I always read a lot of fantasy. Overall, if you count every kind of fantasy that I read, 62% of my reading was from fantasy of some sort. So like I would say epic fantasy or that kind of stuff was 15 books at 26.8%. Urban fantasy was 12 books at 21.4%. Paranormal was 7%, so about 4 books. And then I think I'm missing a couple books that were probably fantasy romance and some other, I think there's one other, I think that was it. Those are the major ones. Anyway, I did read 5 mysteries. So this year I was trying to make sure I read more mysteries. So I did read 5 mysteries, not as many during March Mystery Madness as I was hoping, because again, I got sick and that kind of derailed my brain on what I was reading, but at least I got a couple in there. So that was about 8.9% of my reading. And then I have read 4 science fiction books. So that again is another 7%. So I need to work on maybe not reading as much just fantasy, except that that's what's calling me right now. So maybe that's just how this year is going to go. So, anyway, so let's, should I do that first? No, let's do series really quickly. I don't have as much stats on this. So, I'm just rambling here. I'm not sure anybody's going to get anything out of this at all. So in quarter one, for series, I started 11 series, which is a little high. I do admit that, but it's also the beginning of the year, so I figure I have all year to finish them or get caught up on them. One series I completed, that's not right. Is that right? No, it's two that I completed in the quarter. I also started those and finished those in the same quarter. So those are 2 and 2. I don't know why I put a 1 there, but it's 2. So again, most of the time I was trying to separate series that I completed that maybe I'd started before, but no, the only 2 series that I've completed within this, between the 3 months was 2 series that I started and completed within those 3 months. I did catch up on 7 series. So they're all ongoing series that I've read the next book in or caught up to. And then I did start a series and catch up to all that's out on 1 series. So those 7 are all ones that were like ones I'd started in years past. So anyway, so I started a lot of series. I haven't actually completed those or caught up on those yet, but I'm working on that. But again, I have all year, right? Yeah. So I did DNF 2 series, and a 3rd one is pretty possible. I DNF'd the 9 Realms series by Sarah Kozloff. I just got into the middle of book 2 and just could not continue. So that series I have gotten rid of or going to get rid of. I tried House Immortal by Devin Monk and read the first book, but don't want to continue. And then the one that's kind of iffy is the Jane Yellowrock series by Faith Hunter. The first book I didn't like that much. But there was potential for stuff to happen in the next book that I'm at least interested in. So I might pick up the second one. So it's kind of an iffy. So it's like, I definitely DNF'd 2 series. That at least one, but the other one's kind of close. So we'll see what happens. So, of all of my rereads, I remember I told you I had 10 rereads this quarter. For the first quarter, 9 of those were from series. Some of them were the first books that I was rereading to continue on. Some of them were just a book within that series that I wanted to read. So 90% of my rereads for the first quarter were from series, which is not a surprise at all. Most of my rereading are usually in series. I mean, there are clearly ones that are not, but it's most of the time they're part of a series that I'm rereading. So just to recap for my series about series list of the series that I want to hit, I put down 23 series that I would like to start, complete, and finish kind of thing, or get caught up on. I had a lot of different options. So of those, 3 of the series I started from the beginning, so that was part of my, so part of that 11 that I started, 3 of them were on that list. I need a little work. Anyway, but I've started 3 from that series. I finished 1 that was on that list already, a trilogy, the Guardians trilogy by Nora Roberts. That one was completed. I caught up on 1 series on that one. Oh, I don't remember what one it was, but I mean, again, there's so many series on there. I don't know which one that was, but I know one of them I caught up on that was on that list that I needed to catch up on. The Others, The World of the Others by Anne Bishop. So I did catch up on that one. So that was part of my start and one of my caught up ones. And then made progress in series already started was 3 of them. So that's thing. And then again, I DNF'd one of the series that was on that list, which was the 9 Realms. So those are kind of all the stats I want to do just really quick. My pretty my series tracker. So not all these, I have a couple here that I kind of accidentally put in April, so just don't worry about that. But a lot of these are ongoing series. This is actually a series I started them in the middle of. A lot of these ones, I just had a book or two, book left. Some of these I'm working on. Some of these I'm caught up on because, or I'm working through them. So, I mean, I have a lot of white spaces and that's not even all the series that I want, again, I want to try this year. So anyway, I am making progress in all my series, which I'm really happy about. So, okay, this video is getting really long. Sorry about that, guys. So we're just going to quickly go through all I only had 6 5-star reads so far this year. It's kind of low. But I'm also, a lot of the reading I'm doing is I'm still really enjoying all my series reading and stuff. It's just not all of them are 5 stars. That's not the way that works for me. It's very rare, even in series, for me to give 5 stars, except for a favorite series, which is why a couple of these are series books. But let's start with the first that is not a series book, and that is my one nonfiction that made a 5 stars, which is The Invention of Nature, The Adventures of Alexander von Humboldt, The Lost Hero of Science by Andrew Wolfe. I read this in January and just loved it. It was so interesting and exciting on the things that Alexander Humboldt, how his life and the things with nature and there's so many different things, the disciplines he kind of had an effect on, and things he did that helped other sciences and stuff, and just brought attention to different people and stuff. It was a very fascinating read. It's definitely one I want to go back to at some point and read again, because it was just so much stuff in here that I don't think I got all of it. But I really enjoyed it, and I'm glad I did pick that up. So I did that. And then my other non-series book, but it's part of the Cosmere, so is Stress of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson. So this is the first Secret Project #1 that came out, and I read it in March. So finally, right before I got my physical copy showed up. So I did really enjoy this. This was definitely one of those books that just was a feel-good read, and I just enjoyed being there, and I just wanted to pick it up all the time, and I just love it. And I'm really looking forward to rereading this one. This is definitely one of those on the reread list that I want to get, that I'll do at some point. Probably not this year. I'm hoping early next year I'll be ready for it. Then I have all 3 of the World of the Others series by Anne Bishop. This is, again, not a surprise, because her Others series is one of my favorite urban fantasy series of all time. And the World of the Others comes after that series. And these ones have different characters in different locations. Some of them in the second book are ones we met before, but we get to see more of their story. So that was interesting. The book 1 and 3 of this one are the ones that are connected to each other, and we get to just get more and more into these characters. I just love this world, this very alternative history, and it's just, there's so many great urban fantasy things in here, but so much different stuff. And I just love the way she writes it, and I want more. So this again is one that I started and I'm caught up on already, because I read these pretty fast once I started. I don't know why I waited, but I did. And then the last one I just want to pick up is my first book of the year, and still one of my favorite books so far this year is Nona the Ninth by Tamsin Muir. So this is book 3 in the Locked Tomb series. I am so looking forward to Electa the Ninth. I just want it to come out. I just don't think it's going to come out this year. I haven't heard for anything solid. Next year, maybe. I don't know. But I loved this book. I am already looking forward to rereading the whole series, which I will as soon as we're close to it. The 4th book coming out in this. This was this book went in directions I never knew where it was going, which is always fun with her books. You just don't know what's going to happen or how things are going to twist, and you get to it and you're like, what happened? Wait, how did that happen? Or why didn't I see that? And there's just so much going on here. I'm looking for the rereads. I bought audiobooks to reread these. I'm already excited to do that. So anyway, but those are my favorite books so far of the year. We'll see which ones actually make my top 10 at the end, but so far those are the 5-star reads. So that is all my stats. I know that was a lot of talking at you. I showed a little bit, but not a lot. I know Excel, but I haven't got to the point where I've used graphs. And when I used graphs, it was, 20 years ago. So I haven't figured it out yet. Maybe next time. I keep saying that, but maybe sometime. So anyway, do you guys keep stats? Do you like these kind of videos? I don't know what to make it better. So, oh well. I thought I'd just at least give kind of a Q1 update. So I didn't have to do all the work for the mid-year one, because that always takes so much time. So I thought if I broke it up into quarters and then kind of talk about what books and and again, as I said, my book buying is definitely something I'm working on, even if this month might not, this April might really wreck it. So we'll see what happens. So anyway, let me know how you're doing and how you're if you're hitting your goals and stuff. As I said, most of my lists, I didn't go through them exactly, but I've made progress on all of them. But I'm kind of behind on all of them too, what I wanted to be at. But I have to say, again, a lot of my DNFs did come from those lists, from both my 23 books in 2023 and my translated works and my, what was the translated works? There was quite a few in that one. And I think, no, the other two lists, I didn't have any DNFs yet. I just haven't got to the books yet. So we'll see what happens. So anyway, that's it. I will talk to you guys later. Bye.